City Live, a platform to sharing your thoughts.
I request all the interested attendees to come to a panel discussion. We have Mr. Yunus Khimani, Neerja Polisetti and Bhavna Sharma to discuss on visual storytelling through arts and crafts. I also request Neerja ma'am to introduce Rajesh sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we have Rajesh with us. How can I introduce you? Tell me. So
I'll introduce myself. I'm Professor Rajesh Gangoria. I'm joint dean at Modi University of Luxembourg. I'm heading School of Design there.
Hello.
Good afternoon, my name is Manoj. I'm from Bangalore and I'm heading the postgraduate program in Industrial Art and Design Practices, Srishti Manipal Institute of Art and Design Technology, Bangalore.
I would take this honor to introduce Yunus Khimani sir, who doesn't really need an introduction because most of the people know him here. He's been a design educator for more than 30 years and has been a visiting faculty for multiple national institutes like NID, NIFT, Arch also in Jaipur, guest faculty at Rajasthan University, Parul University. And he's been working in textiles since last 3 years, which is a new addition. He's also have had a Mexican government scholarship and has worked in contemporary art scene. He'll tell you more about himself eventually. About Neerja Polisetti ma'am, it's such a pleasure to meet you. 24 years around textile industry and groundbreaking work in hand-woven paper textiles is her specialization. She has done beautiful work in creating bags and interior spaces using paper. She's worked on eco-conscious design solutions. A faculty at NIFT, Vanastili, Arts College and many more. She's worked on multiple national and international publications. And she's also been a mentor and a bridge between students and Rajivika project, which has been a very famous project from the government of Rajasthan for women empowerment and artisans empowerment. I open this panel discussion and would like to start about the first thing that we're talking about is visual storytelling through arts and crafts. May I request Yunus sir to put some light on the same topic.
Good afternoon. I would say that visual storytelling is a large part of art, or one of the largest part of art, and even in craft, that visual storytelling is a very big component. Of course, the kind of story that is being told is important, and the way it is being told is also very important. And that way of saying the story can have from very simple to very complex formats can be employed. And at times they are really very complex, in the sense that one way of doing it is one way of when people have done it is that there is the artist who tells the story, and that another format that I have seen in the tradition is that there is a artist who is telling a story, but there is a storyteller who tells the story. So these are two different people. So artist paints the story, and the narration of the story is done by another person. And so it becomes really complex because it has to be a shared story. Because I mean, in a tradition like Third or in a tradition like Kavod, it becomes really complex because the whole process is that the जो वांचता है, the person who narrates the story is called वांचना. जो वांचता है, he would go to the artist and place an order for the third or the covered, and then the artist will tell him come at a particular time, and he would come at a particular time. They don't tell stories to each other, but there is a shared story which the artist also knows and the Vanchanara also knows, And so it's a very complex thing that when was this story shared? Maybe hundreds of years behind, And so the narration becomes very complex, In painting, it is a bit easier, because the artist himself is telling the story and narrating the story. But there, the pictorial complexity becomes quite amazing because, I mean, there are many formats, One format is that you have different pictures for different events. And another is that you tell the whole story in the same picture, and that is usually known as continuous narrative. Like how it is in Ajanta, where the Jataka is told in the same one frame. So there it becomes visually becomes very complex.
For me, because I am from a weaving background, the only way of what I can see the storytelling is that earlier during the times of Vedas, it was all, verbal. Everything was, translated through songs, through shlokas, and there was no written text available. And this also applies to the weaving. There are communities even today, and there are complicated, complex songs, and those are sung by singers and the weavers are weaving. And because of the entire design is actually in that weaving. So this is even practiced today in Jamdani weaving in some of the parts of West Bengal. It is so complex. I mean, if you listen to that song, you will not understand. But when you relate it with weaving, what will come now, what will come next. So storytelling is like, it's a vast area. The other aspect is, if we come into the product part of it, every product should also have a story, right? And especially the crafts, handicrafted products. So that story is again totally different. It is about what the artisan did, how they did, why they did, and what's the story behind that. So these are two aspects of storytelling. That's what I will contribute.
So it's rightly said by Yunus sir and Madam. When we see the storytelling, it is part of our culture. We born and brought up with the stories, usually sung by dadis, nanis, and it was a different world for us. It was a different imaginary world where we used to imagine things by the story. That's how our visual power became more. Like nowadays, when you see the visuals and the story, we are not able to visualize because it's already there. The visuals are there. When you see the radios, like that time we used to, like the radio, there were a lot of stories and things used to be there, which like built our imaginary power. Like we were able to imagine what is going there. That's the power story has. When you see about the covered and bird painting, Pandwani, and there are many other traditions in Indian context, not only in Indian context, when you see the African and the Asian countries, are full of stories. And even our visual map is based on the stories. You know? Even with the songs, like we don't need to draw our stories and songs, it's kind of a visual map. So, like when we see the stories and the narrations, it has its own power. And each object speaks. It has its own story. Story of making the thing, story of invention, innovation, story of after life, like when the product is not there, what is the story behind it? That we call product life cycle. So it's there. Like,
all the panel members said correctly for the stories, but I have like a contradictory view about stories in terms of the stories goes beyond the visuals, because we are living in a very complex system or maybe world where there are so many complex tendencies crossing, merging, and who tells the story and who hears the story is also important. And creative people has I think like a lot of burden and responsibility as well to tell the stories that are unheard. Because in the old times, the people who had money, they hire people to write and sing song about them. But what are the people whose stories not heard? So we creative people have a lot of responsibility when we paint, we make, even the textiles also, how the story has been narrated. Like what about the weavers who weave the shawl or any artifact? It's all about the people who can afford it. But what about the people who weave it to make the pot? So what are these stories? There are so many unheard stories in India. If you try to investigate and think critically, question critically, so we might get a lot of interesting insights that will inspire a lot of people.
So I come from a photography background and I'm a photographer and a filmmaker. My line has been I think everybody's line has been highly affected by artificial AI also. So at a certain point, I think it is okay to have some enhancement on the original work. But like you said, earlier we had radios and we had a lot of audio storytelling through which there was a scope to imagine. Now the new generation, if we talk about the current generations, since most of us are educators here, how can we, work on making students have the capability to decipher more without having a fixed idea of what the narrative has come across? How can we help them explore more in this current time, because there's already a lot of explanation and final decipher to multiple stories today. It's too much explained till the end that there is very less scope of an open-ending kind of, or open thought process. How can we work on it with the youth today when they have multiple access and mostly a lot of answered things already in their hands to open up their minds with respect to crafts and with respect to contemporary art and the art which has existed in history?
It's a very difficult area to explore because one is that we still don't know how much AI is going to unfold, and I think it is going to unfold a huge way. So it's going to change the world completely, and so that is. But with the AI challenge, there is another aspect that we have to look at is that the training of the hand will have to continue because we just cannot afford to give that up. And so I have a feeling that certain basic things will have to be looked at, and whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, but somewhere it has to be continued. And I think two basic things that will have to be taught at any cost is certainly working with clay and how to draw and write. I mean, these are the two basic things. I don't separate the drawing and writing because I think it's the same activity. It's done in a different way, but it's the same activity. So writing and drawing, that is that skill, and the work with clay. I think clay is the basic material, and I don't think we have, leave AI aside, we have never really understood the potential of it. Now I think clay makes you think, clay makes you imagine, and clay makes you look at three dimensions. I think it is one of the most basic material to know and should be taught everywhere at all levels.
Again, I make the same question.
So I agree with Yunus that it's a very difficult task. In this age of AI, you just ask a question and an AI is ready with the solution for that. So we had faced this recently when I had done the Rajavika project with students of Arch, and they had to use the crafts of Rajasthan, whatever crafts techniques are there, and innovate that. So initially everyone used the AI to visualize that, yeah, okay, this craft, okay, what will it look like? This product, what will it look like? There AI was used. But then the next stage was to explain the artisan how to make it. So for that the student had to make themselves first. And that is when it is, as Yunus said, as long as a student does not put their hands into any material, be it clay, be it painting, be it weaving, be it stitching, blue pottery, there was like fur, everything, until unless they explore it themselves, they cannot start visualizing and thinking in the next level. And putting your hands, making your hands dirty has to be done. And once they started doing that, they loved it. And when they start seeing their own results, it may not be perfect, it may not be the exact craft, it can have all its blemishes, but still, when they see their own, handiwork, they are motivated. So that's the only way, I'll say that hand in hand it should go. AI can come up to certain point, but hands-on crafts can never be overtaken by AI. 100%. Yeah.
See, people take it as like a challenge, but with the possibilities of AI, now students have more options to choose, and the student and the human resource, maybe the faculty or anyone, they have multiple choices and they have more options beyond what AI produces, because it's already there. But from there, how they can take it further, that is more important. See, it is like we have a library, a physical library, where we have a lot of books, but it is up to us which book we want to take and how we want to translate into our work. The work can be physical work, which can be related to clay, which can be related to wood or any physical material, or it can be in a virtual world. Virtual world is also there. Like nowadays, the generation are more into software oriented, computer oriented, which is not wrong. It is also a media, right? So they can explore that media also, but they have choice to choose. Because AI, by their algorithm, they are giving you things from various places. Now it's up to us which things we want to take and how wisely we want to take it further. But not copying the AI. It's just a reference we can take. A right reference is our choice, our wiseness. We should not go with a blind thing. In fact, when we talk about the craft, culture and all these things, if it is not available on internet, that means AI can't give that. Because I have worked in Bastar, Chhattisgarh, I was there for a year. There are many things which are not available on internet. When we talk about their local terminologies, if we just search the local terminologies, it's not there on AI. But if AI will give something else, if we search, that's also there. So we human need to be more wiser there. And it is good even for the education now. students are not totally dependent on teachers' knowledge, because now knowledge is everywhere. Teachers is, even the teaching is out of fashion now. Now it's more about guiding, mentoring. Yeah.
I feel like AI is in very initial stage in India and it's going to grow, it might take 10-15 years. And I feel like artists and designers as well as the creative professionals, they should not be fear of the AI, they should embrace the technology and it will enable them in future that things that nobody can think of. So they should take help of the AI and see how they can build on that thing. I'm not talking about in terms of the making and thinking. So if you take AI's advantage and the computational power, because your brain might not be able to think that much, your brain might not be able to analyze that much data, but AI might enable you to think in a very vast kind of spectrum, and making can be by hand or by, there are so many tools also. Earlier, like we used to say, like only the hand tool you will operate, but now using power tool, it will save time. So how you can produce quality with the help of technology, it is, I think it should be embraced, not to fear.
You've been in the industry and in the domain for so many years. I want to ask you, like today, especially for the youth, our attention span is very low. How do you stay inspired? What inspires you every single day to do something new? What keeps your inspiration up? Or do you also face lows and highs when it comes to creating something new?
Yeah, I mean, today everything inspires me. I mean, this thing here, it inspires me. I mean, we were all in urban sketches this morning drawing at by Budam Circle, and it was so beautiful, inspiring. Today the inspirations are many that it's difficult to keep a track of them. And we all go through highs and lows. There is no doubts about that. I go through high and low. I mean, sometimes some work doesn't need any effort, it just flows. And some works don't flow at all, and they sit there and just doesn't work, and then you are very discouraged and you get demotivated. But of course, at my age, I have to kick myself every morning, get out of the bed and start working. Because you do feel like sleeping more, you do feel like taking life slow and easy, but can't afford to do that. So I do have to kick myself, and that's what I also tell my students, that ultimately we all will have to kick us on the back.
Of course, there are highs and lows always. Yeah, you cannot keep on creating. That is not possible. And inspiration, because there's so much of technology all around, there's too much of videos and too much of bombardment. To get away, that's the inspiration for me. Get away from all of that and do with hand. And just get lost in your own thing. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But yeah, keep on doing that. It is like what do you say, a break from all the bombardments that are happening. And that is my inspiration, I will say. And that's what keeps me motivated. And yes, there are days when you don't feel like doing anything. But then earlier I used to feel guilty about it. Nowadays I feel like it's like I am recharging somewhere, and then against it and more ideas come and it is much more impactful, better. So Yes, and then we have to earn money, right? You do not have that thing to just sit and relax and rest. That is another motivation, I'll say. So yeah, that's it about me.
For me, inspiration is from my parents, my home, where I born and got. It is in my blood. And when it comes with the inspiration, by compulsion, when I have to inspire myself for something, then there is a client. What client needs? So let's say a client wants something for like the evening or maybe something. Like when we talk about the fashion or if we are talking about an interior spaces. If client needs an interior space which should be modernized interior or maybe the traditional interior, then I have to forcefully inspire myself with that environment, like the traditional, what kind of traditional environment a person wants. Then maybe traditional Rajasthani environment, traditional Gujarati environment, or whatever ecosystem that person has. In fact, when it comes to the fashion, then again the inspiration work, academically we use that process of inspiring, forcefully inspiring. Like even we say to the student, now bring your inspiration board. So the student become confused, कि यार inspiration कहाँ से आएगा? So they have to be forcefully inspired themselves. Then they make collage, and they were not able to understand what is collage and what is inspiration book. That's the biggest problem with all the fashion institutions. Most of the fashion institutions which I saw, कि students से पूछा गया ये collage है या inspiration, आप इससे inspire कैसे हुए? है ना? वो बहुत सारे images उसमें डाल दिया. एक image है disaster की. दूसरी इमेज बहुत it is a very peaceful kind of. Third image is like ocean. Fourth image something else. अब वो inspire किस service में? It is really difficult for them. So teacher is also like now you have to take the inspiration and you have to inspire yourself. Then वो बेचारे डर के मारे inspiration लेते. Then they go further with the traditional process of making something. है ना? But inspiration comes from the single word, single person, ideology, anything. Let's say inspiration can be from the Gandhi, the ideology of it. Inspiration can be from a bird, you know, which is flying. Inspiration can be from a fish, or inspiration can be from just a drop of water. But then the image should be only drop of water, or maybe the flying bird. And then how they extract from there the elements that can go further with the color mode and then style mode, and then if it is going to be a furniture or product, then the kinetics, mechanism or whatever. So that's how in design we follow the process of inspiring. But in real life for myself, where I born, where I brought up, my mother was the inspiration, my mother is the inspiration, where I learned step by step process of, now I'm talking here. So it is already there in my blood. So that's inspired me. Thank you.
For me, like there are two different, we can differentiate with the professional inspiration as well as the personal inspiration. And for me, where I teach, student comes first, and very student-centric pedagogy that we follow. And nowadays we are seeing a pattern where students are coming with a lot of information. They are so much knowledgeable. So for teacher also we have to keep up our stocks, right? And this is the biggest inspiration where every day before you go to college you have to prepare yourself, because students also are very knowledgeable. They have all the capabilities to understand the subject very deeply. And of course, as Madam correctly said, credit card bills is also an inspiration. And for the personal inspiration, like the way we have our butter, and also if you have a love for teaching as well as whatever trade or craft you pursue, if you have love for that, so then inspiration might be, Yunus sir correctly said, like everywhere you will see so many inspirations. Thank you.
So we'll conclude with the last question and open it for Q&A. I wanted to know something about how to maintain originality and style while you're exploring your craft or even multiple crafts. How does one, should one initially stick to a certain style? And I mean, how to maintain a style that is kind of very identifiable with your personality when it comes to a lot of inspirations again. Those who are working, those who started to work now, again multiple inspirations and all. So how to maintain a style, and is it even required to maintain the style forever, to maintain the originality? A style of work to maintain.
Very, very difficult question. I mean, I don't know whether there is anything original in this world anymore. Because, we are living in a world of duplicity, where duplicity is so powerful that. As far as style is concerned, as far as my work is concerned, I don't want a style. I just don't want a style. I don't want to be identified with a style. I think we all have something that is called an attitude. And I think that attitude that matters. We all have an attitude, the way we work, the way we live our life, the way we do things, and what we like doing. Those are the attitudes that I think they should be there. They would be there. I mean, nobody can get away from it. But style is a very superficial way of creating what in popular parlance today is known as branding. Yeah, it is like a brand. It is like a way of doing things. I don't think that is needed. And originality, I have a feeling that can only be obtained if you be yourself. I mean, if I am myself, I will do things that are original, and otherwise I will not do it. But it's very difficult. In this world, especially, it is getting more and more.
I agree completely with Yunus. There is nothing original left, yes. But then again, are we talking about the technique of making something, or are we identifying the process of it? Yeah. So products, there is too much of bombardment of product happening everywhere. But still a self-identity comes, over the time period when you keep on doing it. There is one style. It automatically happens whether one wants it or not. Even though there are 5 different people who are doing the same painting, let us say, you will do it differently because of your own thoughts, your own inspiration, and your own whatever environment you have grown up in, and all that brings out that originality. So when you are doing something creative, it is from within your soul that you are expressing it somehow. So everybody's expressions are different, though the material, though the technique is the same. So there somewhere that originality comes. When we are talking about producing mass products and usable products, it is a different story. There is no originality left, and it's a very competitive market. However, when it comes to artwork, still there is the scope of, even though you are using the same thing, still having that one thing that is yours, and it comes out on its own. You cannot force it out, and you keep doing it and it will happen. So that's it.
Both are rightly said. It's a natural process. It's a not natural process. And when it comes to the originality, there are various tools to check plagiarism check. Where if you want to check if this image is original or copies from somewhere, then you just put on a flag check, you will get an answer where this image belongs to. Even whatever text you write, there are smart flag check available. If you say that this is my original writing, just put your writing there, they will give the reference. ये कहाँ से है? So tools are available. It's a help of AI nowadays. So no one can make cool do anything. Right? And when it comes to the style, it's a natural process. By like if you get the same or similar opportunities again and again, that becomes your style. And sometimes if you bound yourself into style, that is also a problem. That means you are in a comfort zone. There are artists, they were like diverse. They change their styles on multiple times and no one can track if it's the काम. So sometimes when we bound ourselves in a style, that this is my style, that means you are limited with your style. So whatever things come, whatever, even in the design, when challenges come, so we have to face the challenges, we have to develop something for them, then again it creates its own style. It can be technology driven, it can be a philosophical, it can be anything. So it's a natural process, we have to be natural and we follow things like as whatever the environment is. And don't bound ourselves. Or in fact for the student, especially for the art students, I would suggest don't go with this style approach. Usually it happens in the fine arts programs, we try to make our style till fourth year ki should be our style. Don't go with that, just practice and practice. Whatever opportunities you will get, let's say if the students are getting opportunity to work with the canvases, if the students are getting opportunity to work with a particular form or shape, then they will explore that, or it naturally becomes their identity, not the style. And that identity needs to be changed every time.
As Jonas correctly said, that originality is very critical because by when we born, so you start getting influenced. And when you are at that particular age that you are making artwork or design anything, so you are influenced with so many things that you can't say this is like I'll take all credit for this creation, because there are so many people have inspired and things has been inspired you. But it's basically very difficult. But what I would suggest, like as a creative professional, if you can build a line of inquiry, and with the help of line of inquiry, if you can build your practice around it. So practice is going to help you to have some unique kind of way of making things. And it's not original, but it will be like very close to that. You can say this is my own kind of creation.
Any questions?
Just a small duration on your last comment. Yeah. So we are talking about style. What I think we should look at the style from the viewer perspective. Creator doesn't fall in any style. I know that I can see that this is Yunus painting. So this is not Yunus way of thinking. This is basically viewer way of thinking that okay, I have identified out of these 10 paintings, these 5 are Yunus paintings. So this is, I think that this is viewer side point of view, not the creator side point of view. Even in the music also, I know that if some music is happening, this is from opinator. But opinator is doing his own work, his own style. But this is the way I am observing the creator. So this is the observation side of this thing.
Yeah, that is a very beautiful point, lovely thing. Because when you say style, it is not just the person who is making it, it's also the person who is observing. And sometimes the observer thinks that is the style, and maybe the maker is not even thinking of that. So that is a big possibility, but somewhere it is still about patience. Well, I don't know how to.
I agree completely, and that's a wonderful way of approach. Yeah, very good observation. Because for whom are we creating? At the end of the day, yeah, and what we are making, we have thought of something else, our concept is something different, but the viewer finds it something totally unique, even if later on you start looking at it, oh yeah, I never saw this way. So yeah, I totally agree that it's a wonderful concept. I would say.
It is like you rightly said. It is just an example कि when we see the cradle, उसपे वो झूला लटका रहता है. So usually parents think that oh wow beautiful for the kids, but when we see from the kids' perspective like this, how they visualize things, you know, it is important for a designer or an artist to understand the user's perspective as well. The users plays a more important role rather than we ourselves think that this is my own style. Should come from the user's perspective.
Thank you so much. I think we can close the panel. Many thanks and many regards for being a part of this, and have a nice day. Thank you.
City Live, a platform to sharing your thoughts.